life, and acting. The air horn makes it way better.
Oh, man. It's Joey's favorite thing on the planet. Claps!
I don't know if it's my favorite thing on the planet.
I mean,
it's a
you friggin'
really
love
great
the air
effect.
horn.
So what's better than having Brian actually just speak out loud whatever the sound effect is? Like, why have a sound effect?
Yeah.
If you're just gonna go claps.
I know. It's just like, it felt fun.
Hilarious. So today we're talking about a very specific and important subject that Joey brought up the other day, and that is to do things when you're not being watched, to be aware of the things that you do when you're not being watched. And I believe that this is probably one of the absolute keys to success in life, is this exact thing.
And acting. In life and acting.
Life and well, yeah, and acting, of course, because acting is life and life is acting, of course,
Yeah.
Joey. But this is the secret. I mean, it really is. So, Joey, you brought this up. Why don't you go down memory lane here and talk about what if you're willing, Joey,
Yes.
as single as you are. I can't believe that, by the way.
my
It's
gosh.
unbelievable to me.
Unbelievable.
As single as you
We're
are,
not even a minute into the show.
If we could
it's already
discuss-
out there.
where were you when I found you? This, like, I feel like, obviously,
Ooh,
I knew
love
I knew
this
you your whole
story.
life, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes I feel like there's a player, right? There's like a
Yeah.
there's a diamond in the rough, and there's that one coach that goes out and he finds the diamond, and he's like, I found you, and you were working on a field, and I grabbed you, and I brought you in, and now you're this big superstar. So, like, where were you when the Deering Studio found you?
Well, that's a very solid question. I was in the basement playing Fortnite.
You were
Straight
in the
up.
basement playing Fortnite.
Yes.
I believe the basement of your uncle's house.
Yes.
Living rent-free,
Yes.
carefree.
All true.
Dare I say, not as grateful as you should have been?
You dare say that? Sure. Yeah.
And sort of like just didn't know what you didn't know kind of deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
How much Fortnite have you played in the last year?
I don't even have the game. It was that's a low point just to even play the game.
But think about it. There was a time in your life where you cared.
Oh yeah, I just wanted.
As interesting as that was.
I just wanted to get dubs, man.
To
Yeah.
the point
Just trying to
where
get dubs.
when you reached out to him, when you were reaching out to help him and sort of like possibly bring him in, because I remember this discussion, it was about our Valleywood movie camp and bringing him in as a volunteer, and I believe he said no. Is that right?
I did do that. I
You
did
denied
do that
me.
Thing. Yeah,
You got
I
denied.
Did. I rejected you. I was chilling. I didn't want to leave, and I was scared, so I just.
But I'm
stayed.
persistent. So
What?
I eventually gave you an offer you can refuse. You know who else denied me first time around is my wife.
Oh dang.
I asked her out to go on to be my girlfriend, and she said no. She
So
denied me.
So Leanne and I
It's not
have
funny.
something in common. Then. We both rejected Matt.
Oh man, and it feels terrible. I got to tell you, to be denied. But I thought about it for a second, and I still believed in you.
Yeah.
I had this gut feeling about you and about your untapped potential, and I thought, okay, what am I gonna do? I think the truth was, in my mind, you weren't worthy of being paid yet because you had really kind of no skills that were applicable to what we were doing. We needed a body. Truthfully, any body would do, and any person with a body would have done.
They're a human being and they have a body.
But there aren't people that have your heart inside of that body, and I knew that to be true of you.
Sure.
So I decided, okay, whether or not he's worth the money or not, let me bribe him. let me offer some pay, and we'll get you in and get you started. And I think we had a conversation at that point, and you came in.
Yeah, it was. I mean, technically, we never hung up the phone the first time.
Oh,
You were
okay.
very persistent.
So I got denied and then succeeded right away. Well, you know,
Yeah.
my wife dated me within the week, by the way.
Yeah,
so I mean,
so-
I
Way to go,
I
man.
am
Just way
very
to go.
persistent. When I want something, I'm gonna go get it.
it was like at first it was like for free, and then I was like, I'm chilling, and then you were like, all right, I'll pay you $450, and I was like, all right.
I'm still chilling, but I'm chilling at the studio.
In the studio now. Also.
And then, but what's funny is like it was just for the 1 week, and then I ended up coming in like the 2 weeks before that because I was like, well, if I'm gonna be here, I better know what I'm doing. So I like showed up for all the classes before that, and I had been disconnected for long enough then where I was like half in touch with what was going on and half not. So
Yeah.
I was like really just kind of taking stuff as it went, and I was like, dang, there's a lot that goes on here. Man.
Man, I'm missing my Fortnite right now.
Yeah.
These guys don't just teach. What?
Bro, I will remember my squad called me one day, and
Your Fortnite squad,
yeah,
that's a thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
You squad up and then you go for dub.
Squad up Fortnite.
And it was a family squad, but it was all my younger cousins, so like I get it. It was stupid, but I loved playing with them. And so they called me and they were like, bro, we're gonna get these dubs. Like you gotta come home. And I was like, I can't. But it hurt.
It was hard, probably.
Yeah.
You had some Fortnite withdrawals
I did. Yeah.
and some tearful nights, probably.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously there has been a lot of lessons since then, a lot of growing up, a lot of changing, developing, and you're in the middle of that right now. But you mentioned something. There was a specific lesson about
Don't do it while people are watching.
Yeah, to do things not for the sake of getting noticed, but to specifically do it when people are not looking. Do you remember that?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's come up a ton of times, but that was one of my things that I would want to show people what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then that got smacked out of me by you eventually, probably about a year and a half in.
Well, and part of it was the mopping, right?
Yeah.
It was the whole Mr. Miyagi wax on, wax off deal.
You became the master of the mop over a year.
Yeah.
Master,
Dude, I love the mop.
Master
Master
mopper. I
mopper.
do too. I love the
I
mop.
love the mop.
So
But you didn't.
What? No, I didn't love the mop. But
Then
I
you fell in love with it. Yeah. Because the thing about the mop, it's so nice.
Because those were my floors.
Yeah, you took ownership. That's the difference. And I know you were going to say something, Brian. I'll pass you the focus here in 1 second. So this is what you would do. I remember you would, when I was around, you'd almost like be running with the mop and like, and you'd want me to see like how fast you were mopping and how good you were mopping and how good you could take out the trash and all this stuff. And I remember telling you, I'm like, don't do it for me.
Yeah.
And you're like, but it's for you. Like, I'm like, you're the boss. I'm like, I mean, yeah, but don't do it for me. If you do it for me, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. You have to find a way to fall in love with these floors. Find a way to do it in such a way that you don't care if people watch.
Then I would give you these eyes. Yeah.
You don't want to be noticed. Yeah, you give me. That's right. Those were
famous Joey eyes. Oh man.
Really?
What?
What
Seriously?
are you talking about?
And then add a little anger and a little hurt.
Yeah, that's it. Those are the eyes.
You're good at the Joey eyes, Joey.
Dang,
That's
Joey.
really good.
Yeah, I've gotten rid of them, but it's good to go back every now and then.
Now it's just Joey Dimples, baby.
Yeah, I can't get rid of those.
They're so attractive.
I mean, I can't deny the air horn.
Okay,
Oh my gosh, if you make a sound effect that says that.
So we and actually I didn't plan this, but this is interesting. Yesterday I taught a couple corporate workshops. I was grinding away. You guys were grinding away. You accomplished a lot yesterday, Joey. You leveled up in a couple new ways. You went out and filmed some sporting competition of sorts.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a dream come true for you.
Dream.
And you asked me how would you go about it, and I was
did.
like, serve, man, just serve. Look for ways to serve. Don't get caught up in the bright lights, so to speak. Go there to be a servant. You did that thing. You finished that thing. You also accomplished exponentially more at the studio than, honestly, you would have ever dreamed of, probably even I would have ever dreamed of you doing in a day, you did yesterday, plus this other video.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Guess what else though? This is crazy. It just hit me. When I got back from my physical therapy, and I needed to zone in to teach the workshop. I walk in, guess what I see?
Joey editing.
Mopping, baby.
That's right.
Mopping.
Yeah.
Yesterday because he wanted to. He did it not to get seen. He didn't know I was going to walk in. He could care less, honestly.
Yeah.
The fact that I saw him, he could care less. But I did see him. I did notice it, and it did matter to me. I thought about it, and I thought, gosh, probably we have an intern coming in. Probably we have somebody, whatever. But Joey's doing this just to make sure it gets done, make sure it's done at a high level. And I thought to myself, dang, this kid's good. I really did. Like, that hit me. And it hit me because of the mop. You know, and you did a couple good edits yesterday, and we had some back and forth, some revisions and things, and we got a really good video at the end of the day. But the mop is what stood out to me. That was the thing that, like, if I was going to take the highlight of the day for you, was doing that in the dark, and then you accidentally got caught doing it and didn't even know that it mattered to me. Because I don't play it. You know, I don't play it like loud on my sleeve. As a matter of fact, I even interrupted you twice to get your help in here. Meanwhile, thinking to myself, what a baller! Like, this kid is so good, and I'm so lucky, so grateful. Like legit, man. I mean, it was that's what hit me. And how cool is that? We started the show in this place, and I just didn't even think of it. But yesterday was exactly that.
And talk about like giving completely and mastery, which sounds weird to be mastering mopping, right? Mastering the floors. But I mentioned this now that you bring it up. I came over to Joey and I was like, bro, this place smells so good. Like, it smells so good. And there's times where you mop and you mopped, but it's like, it doesn't feel that way still somehow. Like, you finished mopping.
You didn't do a good job.
Yeah. Like, it just doesn't feel the same way. And Joey finishes, and you like walk through the space. It's like the perfect amount of bleach mixed with like the vinegar, and like it's like.
Yeah, and you have to pour out the water in between rooms, and you got to do it right. If you do it right, you know, it matters. Obviously, like, it makes a difference. There's a way to shortcut, and then there's a way to do it right.
Yeah. Thank you, boys. But here's the thing. I enjoy it. It was something that yesterday specifically.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. I'm gonna interrupt. I'm gonna interrupt you right now. You enjoy it, yes, but you also enjoy playing Madden.
Right. Yeah.
Sure.
And you made a choice to mop and choose that enjoyment over the Madden enjoyment in that moment, out of servanthood.
That's true. Yeah.
And so I'm sorry, but I have to give you full, absolute credit.
Okay, that's
because
fair.
you deserve it.
That is fair.
But go ahead and say your point. Anyway.
I was just going to say that it becomes one of those things where, after all those reps and practices, A, it becomes something I enjoy, but B, it's something that's weirdly peaceful for me. You know, it's kind of going back a little bit. I put in my earphones and listen to either music or like. Yesterday I chose to listen to sports radio because the Cardinals won. Let's go.
The Cardinals won. Also, our fantasy football team won. I mean, let's not even worry about that. Not everybody's team can say that they won, but I know we can say that our team
can say that they won.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
But anyway, go ahead.
Nobody's like, I don't know who.
Yeah.
I scored mad points.
Brian lost.
And I
big
still
L.
Right. We
Still
should
lost,
just
big L.
tell everybody that Brian lost.
And
and
you
which
know,
we
I
did.
lost to my dad.
So let's move on. Let's keep moving on. We'll just focus on the loss. We won't focus on any other details
Sure.
about
No
it.
reason to focus on anything but my loss. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, so great. So there was
I was kidding, Brian. I was trying to set you up to say I got the most points in the league this week, except for the person that beat me. But it's all right. We'll focus on your loss. Okay, here we go. So you were saying?
I was just saying that, like, and with all that, because of the piece that comes from it, like, I remember because of all the reps. I'm like, all right, then you splash of this, splash of that, you mix the two, you put in this much water to this line, then you go around, you do this section of the studio, and then you need a new bucket. Like, I just have it mapped out without thinking about it anymore.
Yeah.
And it's silly, but like there's also times, like yesterday was one of those times, and you're right, I chose to do that instead of go home and play. That's true. But there's times where I just have to step away from the computer, and so then one of my things is I always try to find something else to do.
Yeah.
Versus just like sitting down, because sometimes it's good to lay down and go home and play a video game or whatever. That's all cool, but if there's something I can do to help out that doesn't involve me sitting in front of the computer, that helps me a lot too sometimes. So that's what I did yesterday, and yeah, it was cool. And thank you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got noticed for it. If we go back to the beginning, I'm the one that taught you the method, the mopping method. Why? Because I've mopped thousands and thousands and thousands of times, wanting the place to be beautiful. It comes down to your why.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, why mop in the first place? Well, it's because I want it to be beautiful for the people that come in, not because I have to do it.
Yeah.
You know, technically we don't have to mop every day, technically. But people might not notice if you don't mop every single day. But if you want it to be beautiful, if you have a desire for the space to be beautiful, to smell really good, to have that effect, then that why will require you to do what is necessary to make that magic happen. And that's the why behind it. And if you remember, Joey, I said to you, I said, this is the right way to do it. There's a proper way to do it. However, it's not the best way. I don't know if you remember me saying this. Not the best way. This is the proper way versus not the proper way. But I'd like you to find a way.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
To make it when you do the floors that it's better than my way.
And I was looking at you and I was like,
Hey?
The Joey look.
it's like
A little more anger.
That doesn't make sense.
It's mopping floors.
Right,
Matt.
right, yeah.
What do you mean you want me to find my own way to mop the floors? It like hurts to do it now. I can't believe I used to hold my eyebrow there.
Bro, you used to live there, man.
Yeah,
that was like home base for you.
I can't literally it kind of hurts my eyebrows.
Yeah.
Oh man,
which is nice, the eyebrows, because it used to be one.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe that was it. It just had more weight.
I don't think so.
Just a little more weight pulled down.
Time, you know?
So,
okay. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I love what you said about the why, about this, the pride that you have to have in it. And I think, because situations will continuously change. The story that I remember for me was when we had the space over on this side, and we first came into here, and that bathroom in the back was just it was like the worst thing that could ever happen in the history of bathrooms. Like someone just put a bomb in there and went.
It was the place was under construction, and the bathroom had not been renovated or updated probably since the building had been built. But beyond that, it was just old, dingy, beat up, and yeah, the place was under construction. So it was not in great shape.
Mm-hmm. And so we were about to have sort of our first class into this space. And again, even building on the dingy, the way that it was, the walls weren't finished.
The floor wasn't finished. We didn't have floor.
Nothing.
It was like an unfinished, weird looking floor. You know how the floors look all yellow and gross when you pull up carpet? It was like that.
The floor is lava.
Yeah, so all of that was the case. And we had students coming in, and so obviously we knew that all that was the case. We even talked about this in the other episode with our first space. It wasn't about the space, though. It's about just serving people and doing what we do. However, that was something I saw that we could do, and it took literally 8 hours, and it still wasn't pretty or anything.
It looked like hell.
Yeah.
But it was usable.
Yeah.
And it looked like it was purposeful and that somebody cared.
Exactly.
And that's what matters. And that mattered to me, as you know. I mean, I've told that story so many times as far as my belief in your heart and what you feel. Because I remember again taking the blower, the big air blower, and blowing out the entire space a couple times because it was that gross weird yellow floor. But here's what happened, right? So everybody came in, And I knew the space wasn't going to be beautiful. Matter of fact, it was only half the space, and this space was still totally under construction. But we needed to start classes. We didn't have a choice. We had already sold the space, like the time. I mean, people needed to be taught their lessons, and I had taught classes in worse, truthfully. Mm-hmm. And I brought people in, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna sell them on the dream. I'm gonna make them a part of the journey rather than waiting till it looks perfect. I'm gonna say, come in, check it out. Here's what we're gonna do. I pulled out the blueprints. I took them on tours of the dilapidated, walls down. I said, hey, here's what's gonna be. Here's what we're doing for you. This is what we're investing in. I can't wait to have it be finished. And then everybody got to be a part of this thing. And then every week you'd come and you'd see, now there's paint up. Now there's, the floors are a little bit more finished. And, and over the process of about a month and a half, the students who were there really got to be a part of what we were building. And that's like super neat, to be a part of that. But it all comes back to perspective on it. So like I can say like, oh, and make excuses, or I can go, come in, check this out. Like, This is so cool.
I remember that when I was in the teen class, we used to come over here and like it was like ripped to shreds, and you were like, and this is where the lobby's gonna be.
That was the second reno.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you talking about the
I'm talking about the first one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Second reno, same idea though.
Yeah.
100%.
I just remember like the teens, and we would go over there. And you'd be like, and this where the bay's gonna be, and this is gonna be a crawl space, and this is just a wall, but it's cool because this is why the wall's there.
Yeah, it's why the wall's there. Absolutely. And it's funny. I dreamt the new build out. I mean, I dreamt it. I hired an architect. We spent hours and hours and hours going back and forth. He'd send me a drawing. I'd send it back. I'd say, no, change this. Hey, try this. Hey, what do you think about this? Here's what we want to try to accomplish. Here's our why, blah, 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 blah. And we went down this whole path. So I could see every wall before it was built. I could see it in my mind's eye. And then we brought in a decorator, so somebody who's really good with design at the end of the day, and she killed it. I mean,
yeah, big time.
What's cool about her is she saw things I couldn't see, which was great because I can only see sort of the blank canvas, and she was able to say, this color here, this color there. You want to keep this very neutral and plain, because I've done so many times where I picked the wrong paint colors and tried to put this there and that there, and if you don't know what you're doing, you can really ruin a space like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so she had some awesome ideas, including that the plant garden we've got in the front. Like that was her idea. I mean, lots of really, really cool stuff.
Super trendy things.
Yeah.
Best comment we've ever got.
And I have one more comment on this too, which I'd like to give Paul a little bit of credit, Barbara Paul, because he was helping me originally back then. So during that build out was 2017. So you're looking at three years ago, just before I had my big wake up. So he's a part of my wake up. He's definitely a part of that process. And I remember we were doing some work together, and he was helping me with my head game a little bit. And he said to me, spend the money, build it out right, buy the garden, like spend the money. You know what I mean? Like go into a little bit of debt, like do what you got to do it right. You got to have faith. He's like, this place is going to be massively successful. And just because you don't have the money right now, he's like, spend it. Like in this particular case, there's a very, very solid why behind it, and you need to do it and do it right. And I took that advice, and of course I was like, careful about our spending and decided where to invest first and all that. But I did that. Like I had that freedom to say, you know what? If this costs $3,000 or something and I don't have it, I'm going to do it. Like one of the biggest investments I always talk about is the insulation on the roof. Mm-hmm. We got rid of the ceilings. And there was no insulation above the drop ceiling, and there's no insulation on top of the roof here. It's a very old roof at this building, and so I had to make that investment. It was like $15,000 after the fact, and I was like, oh, that hurts.
Lot of money.
It's a lot of money, but you know what? AC is important to me. The cool air is important to me. It always has been. I'm an Arizona kid. I understand what it feels like to walk into a space when it's miserable outside and come in and go, it's nice. And that mattered to me. And so I upgraded. I got the nicest stuff. I got the highest grade insulation that nobody will ever see. and it's up in the ceiling. And that's one thing I can't take with me.
Yeah.
That belongs to the building. As soon as I put it up, I bought that as a gift to them as soon as we leave, if we ever leave.
That's very kind of you.
It's crazy, but you know why? I cared about our customers. I wanted our customers to walk into a cool space in the summer, because in the summer in Arizona, it's miserable. 100%. And that's the stuff you do in the dark that nobody knows about. I mean, now I'm talking about it, but it's years later. Nobody knows about that. But I sit there and look up and I'm going, I see the ceiling, but no other customer does.
Yeah.
If I did my job right, they don't notice it.
Mm-hmm. It's just
For
about
sure.
serving them. I actually remember a time where you were, and I have a separate thing I want to say, but we were meditating in there, just like laying down, all of us. And I remember you afterwards were like, oh yeah, the ceiling. Like, this feels really good.
Yeah.
And he was like, what were you thinking about? He's like, the ceiling. What I did up there was so cool. Like, I forgot about it. Like, because those are the little things, like when you're doing that, you're doing it for the right reasons. You actually even just forget about it in a moment, right? Like, then you move forward and you do all this, and it just is doing what it was meant to do. It's serving people the way it was meant to serve through the sacrifice you've made of making it happen. Again, without wanting credit.
And it was such a big deal to me that I built a relationship with the insulation guy. Because it was a big expense for us. And we brought in a guy, and it was a referral from Angel Gabriel, and we brought him in. He was great. Him and his son did the work. I built a relationship. We got a discount because of building a relationship. But I literally was there and was like helping and was like looking like, how's it gonna go? And I mean, I was very curious because I'm like, I'm investing a lot of money in this insulation. I want to see it. I want to know who's doing it. You know, I was all in on the process. Again, yeah, to be something that no one will ever. And I knew it from the beginning. I'm like, no one's ever gonna know I did this.
But we feel it in the class when it's nice and cool in there.
Yeah.
So the last little point I wanted to make was actually just towards our actors, which is on using this for your acting, using it for homework, for working on the craft at home, doing little exercises and things like that. Those are the things you don't see.
Yeah.
Right. So I see what happens in the classroom. I see when you bring in the commercial or whatever we're working on at that time. But all the work you do behind the scenes, that's what's really going to allow us to push you in the classroom.
Yeah.
And nobody sees that. Like, I'm not at your house. I don't see how often you're working on your stuff. But I can tell you, when somebody comes into the classroom and they have done that, you can feel the difference. You can sort of see that in a long period of time. But you don't see it right away. You don't see it in a day. But like, Sai is a great example of this because she's been with us for so long, right? She's continued to work on craft, continued to be in the master classes and push herself in chaos comedy. And so you look at her way back when she started and to now, that's a great example of somebody who's continuing to work on their stuff at home and push themselves outside of even things that we're asking them to be pushed in.
Yeah.
They're reading extra books and they're going through that. That's how you as an actor take it next level. And those are the things, again, nobody sees it. I'm not seeing it. I'm not asking about it. It's just your responsibility to make it happen.
Yeah, and a lot of times you don't get to see the fruit of that labor sometimes for years.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing it right, years, and that's probably the hardest part, because I could just throw something on Instagram or whatever and just be like, okay, like blah, 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 like, but it takes a minute to be good.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a little while to develop craft and develop skill, and so if you're putting things up for the practice and for they're great, but if you're doing it to try to get noticed, you're probably doing it too soon, too fast, things that don't matter. And there's the way I like to look at it. You're gonna do things in the dark when no one's watching, but that's not true. Someone's watching, and it's you.
Yeah.
You're watching you, and you are telling yourself, I either believe in me or I don't. I'm committed to me and my success, or I'm not. And at the end of the day, whether you cut the corner. You see it. Nobody else knows, but and it affects the rest of your life. We go back to mopping. If it crosses my mind to say move the trash can out of the way and then mop behind it, because I know that would be better, and I know there's probably dust back there, and I'd like to clean it. I think it would be better for the space. If I know, and it crosses my mind to do that, and then I don't, I didn't take the extra 10 seconds, 15 seconds, maybe a minute, depending on what it is, to do something and do it right. I know I didn't do it right.
Yes.
And that affects the next decision and the next decision and the next decision. And before you know it, you're somebody who cuts corners. That's who you are. That's what you get known as. Versus you're someone who does it right whether or not anyone's looking or not, because the only person that you care about is you and your internal compass and your own personal integrity. And that's what's most important. That's why I say act as if nobody's watching. Act as if you don't care about what they think of you. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a good way. Act as if you're doing this for yourself, for your own growth and progression. If you're doing it for you, for the right reasons, you're going to get noticed by other people, but maybe not right away, but it won't matter to you. Because I'm not trying to get the recognition. I'm just trying to mop the floor the right way.
Yeah.
It's the and you've done this in a speech before, compound interest, but for emotions and for the choices you're making.
Mm-hmm.
It's all those little things, one day at a time, adding up to make you into the person you want to be. And there's that one guy who talks about it all the way from making your bed. Like every little decision, one piece at a time, forms the human being you're going to be months down the road, years down the road. And so I just love that, man. I love the way you put that.
Thanks, man. All right, that's our show today. I want to remind everybody to don't do the thing, whatever it is. Don't do it just because you're getting watched. As a matter of fact, just don't do it because you're getting watched. That's not the right reason to do it. If you happen to get noticed, cool. But that's not a good reason to do it. Do you have something to wrap up there, Joey?
No, it's good.
All right, cool. So that's our show. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. This has been Mornings with Matt. Please do not forget to like, subscribe, and share this channel. Help us spread this light-driven content to the planet.
Thanks for listening to Mornings with Matt. Please like, subscribe, and follow us at Deering Acting Studio to keep up with the latest content. For more information on classes, private lessons, or professional development coaching, visit www.deeringstudio.com. Have a Deering day, everyone.